instead of him and all this kind of stuff.
Well,
it sounds a little bit too obvious.
Yeah, half the lies about this aren't true anyway, I suppose. You know, since the middle of July, Alan Brogan has been injured, so they're not going to decide this morning whether he's fit to play or not. So the story is that he's not fit to play. He has a bad groin injury. He has been struggling with training. The rumour is Kieran Kilkenny will come in, but if he doesn't play, Dublin are not half the team without him. Quite apart from the work he does in opening up the defence, but also Bernard is much better when he's on the pitch as well. So if Alan Brogan is not able to play, it'll balance out the loss of Andy Moran to Mayo. But without Alan Brogan, I think Dublin are a much lesser side.
Joe?
Well, I think that's right. I was in Kavanagh's before the game, and you know, Kavanagh's is like the wee shoeshine man in police.
Having a 7-up, I hope.
Having a coffee, and Kavanagh's is like the wee shoeshine man in police squad. You know, people line up and they say, you know, how do you get to the Empire State Building? He says, well, you just do. And then the next person says, you know, do you think I should divorce my wife? And he says, well, there are 3 good reasons you should do that. You go into Kavanagh's, you get the last word on it, and the last word in Kavanagh's was that Brogan's not playing and that Kieran Kilkenny's playing instead. So when you hear it there, generally speaking, that's it. Written in stone.
It's
so that's where he's getting all his information from. The shoeshine man. I knew it.
It's better information than yours, Pat, on the basis of this season.
Shoeshine man in the Empire State Building knows nothing about Jay.
Listen, it's hard to know whether this will be more sort of disrupting for Dublin or for Mayo, all this kind of rumour.
No, it'll be very well, it won't be disruptive for Dublin because obviously they know all along that he hasn't been playing. But as Colin alluded to, I mean, he is the man that makes this Dublin attack tick. He's the conductor of the attack, and particularly, I mean, Bernard plays at his best when Alan is out pulling the strings at the half-hour line, because the one thing when Alan is on the ball, Bernard makes a run and it comes first time. And I watched it closely, particularly the last day against Laois. Bernard Brogan made some great runs earlier on, and he had the advantage over Ciara Healy, but Diarmuid Connolly or Michael Darragh, they were carrying the ball, so he wasn't getting the ball first time. By the time it eventually came, it was either bad or he was marked up. So he's a huge blow to Dublin, but at least, like I said, they will have known all along that he wasn't playing.
Well, people, Pat, are undecided what to make of this senior semi-final. On paper, the minor looks more clear-cut. Dublin clear favourites.
Kieran Kilkenny comes into the Dublin team for his first start. Alan Brogan has been ruled out with his troublesome groin injury. The other change they made from the Laois quarter-final win was the reintroduction of Ger Brennan to centre-back. Mayo have had to make a late switch too. Colin Boyle is ruled out with a virus, so Chris Barrett takes over at wing-back. Enda Varley replaces the injured Andy Moran. Early in the ball kicked away by Flynn. And that a big boost already to the Mayo defence. Open play, actually. After that gift from Kevin Kane, Bernard Brogan scores the first point of the semi-final. And Flynn has Michael Darragh-Macaulay inside. He's gone for Macaulay, and Vaughan went down on it. There were some appeals, I think, that it was touched on the ground, but the referee in the perfect position to see it, and Aidan O'Shea takes it clear for Mayo. Need to settle into this very early days, and the bounce takes Rory O'Carroll out of the game. Now Mayo attacking with Enda Varley, replacing Andy Moran, and he's almost kicked that one out of the ground. Simple into Michael Darragh-Macaulay. He has Ger Brennan behind him. Ahead of him is Bernard Brogan. Quick hands from Dublin, and there was a clear pull back by Donald Vaughan. Too soft freeze to give away.
Down it, he had it, brings it over the line himself.
Flynn launching that in on. Bernard Brogan with great hands gets away from Cafferty, lets it off to Cullen. Now it's Diarmuid Connolly. Connolly on his weaker left side. It's high and it's wide. Whistling and all that sort of stuff not welcome at all. It's a new dimension for Cillian O'Connor to deal with.
Dublin players very close to that ball as well on the kick. More pressure.
O'Connor has given that plenty. He gave it the full gun and it's over the bar. Their first score in the 8th minute.
Beautiful strike, isn't it? Right to left, lovely curl over the bar.
Michael Darragh-Macaulay still waiting, like so many of these Dublin players, for their...
And when he checked him, you know, he really should have recycled that ball. He took on a shot there that it was a really bad shot selection. Should have recycled the ball back out. Lucky to get the 45 out of it. Cluxton nearly saved it, dashed off the line, but couldn't get there in time. Here's an identical opportunity for Cillian O'Connor.
In pretty much the same position. Can he repeat the dose? result, 2 points apiece.
Well, that's really superb to do the exact same. A right to left kicker, very difficult free for him.
That's been the story for so much of the year. Here is Alan Dillon. And he's been caught by Brian Cullen. Could be an issue. The referee has given the free, certainly. But there isn't going to be, I don't think, any further action taken against the Dublin captain. Dillon down injured.
Well, that's just amazes me, and this is part of the controversy in the build-up to
by Michael Conroy, who's having the better of Michael Fitzsimons, and Conroy slots that over. Dublin have an issue at cornerback. They have an issue with Michael Conroy. Really good point, and Mayo lead for the first time in this All-Ireland semi-final. 3 in a row.
Well, he's certainly getting out in front. This time he does make a good decision with the left foot. Great score.
Quarter-final. Got 7 goals in the league last year. Cillian O'Connor. Crunched. Possession given up to Dermot Connolly, almost playing as a centre-half back. Kieran Kilkenny showing for that. He was given space, but Higgins, who had let Connolly go up the field, is the free man back there. And winning easy possession for Mayo. Too much in the hand pass, though. Sloppy and careless from Mayo. Kieran Kilkenny. Again, finds his man, who's Bernard Brogan, and Brogan beaten by Cafferty. And here comes the Mayo fullback. Bernard Brogan is calling for it from Ger Brennan. Now Donald Vaughan marking, and Vaughan got a hand in there, and Brogan has it. Wouldn't be great options ahead of him. Brogan waiting for some support. Nobody showed for him. Paul Flynn has been held. His jersey was almost pulled off him. Flynn calls the crossbar. And Mayo get away with that. The crossbar denying Paul Flynn a goal. He was been fouled, and he was trying to show the referee he was been fouled as the ball was being played in. But Mayo let off the hook. 8 and a bit minutes since Dublin last scored in this All-Ireland semi-final. That gets away from Rory O'Carroll. Michael Conroy.
Here's the goal chance. He was being fouled, got the advantage. What a terrific shot he is. Clark beaten, no doubt, but it's just an inch or two too high. Rattles off the crossbar and out to safety. It's a great shot by Paul Flynn. Really deserved a goal. He had Clark beaten, no doubt about it.
Flawless from the 45s. Just draw this in. He's put too much on it. Wide. Again at 9:30 tonight with Des Cahill and his panel on the Sunday game here on RTE2. Kevin McLaughlin, Mayo enjoying it more at the moment, and that precise ball in, and Conroy's out in front of Fitzsimons again, the cooler man in the spot of bother. Conroy from Davitz, and he's been penned into the corner. Now it's Alan Dillon. He's got some space. Dillon for Mayo has help too. Dillon still going, goes with the fist and puts it over the bar. Great play from Alan Dillon. He's in all-star form as well. Mayo lead by 4 points to 2.
It's all about the angle here, that he takes the ball off Conroy. Knows exactly what he wants to do. He's not passing it. Fists over, lovely.
The attack is Richie Feeney. Barry Moran, and Moran has slotted that one over. They are absolutely flying after an edgy first few minutes, particularly in their defence. They've taken control and they lead 5-2.
Well, you can see the influence Alan Dillon is beginning to put on proceedings. He's getting on a lot of ball. He distributes very well. Rarely
behind him. Connolly missed one from this sort of a position earlier, but he's nailed that one. That's their first point from play in the 22nd minute, and their first point in this match for 17.
Well, patience surely is a virtue. I thought the chance was going to go in. It was very lateral, it was very slow, and then they get it to Connolly, and that's what he's able to do, Dara. Brilliant left foot, right over the bar.
Keith Higgins sending that one up high. Cillian O'Connor pretty good in the air. So is Rory O'Carroll after the fluff from O'Connor, free out. Will that Connolly point be the spark that they have been waiting for? They feel there's a big game in them. Eamon Fennell. Ger Cafferty there with Bernard Brogan and Barry Moran. Now Richie Feeney given space to attack Dublin. Feeney goes out to Alan Dillon, got one with the fist earlier on. He's given that loads, Alan Dillon, and he slotted that one over. Brilliant point. Huge score, 6 points to 3. Second for Dillon.
And again, what I like about this is when you see Feeney coming into the attack, he is a defender, wouldn't be the most accurate man in the world. He understands that, he understands his role.
O'Carroll gets on with it quickly. Kevin Nolan has scored 3 points in this year's championship. Dermot Connolly finally opening his account and looking for another one. Connolly, he's a streaky sort of player and the confidence is up. 2 in a row for him. Is he going to put in another Tyrone performance from last year? Missed his first one, but he's got these 2.
Yeah, and a funny matchup. Aidan O'Shea was matching him there in defence, which
Off this year was left out of the team, but back in and determined to take his chance. Barry Moran was competed with there by Eamon Fennell, and now Michael Darragh-Macaulay, and all of a sudden there's a different feel about them. Kane is there, Michael Darragh-Macaulay, they've nobody in the centre, but now Kieran Kilkenny is there. Can he get his eye in, Kieran Kilkenny? Yes, he can. There is a different feel about them, and they're closing the gap, just one behind, and that's his first point in championship football, senior championship football.
yeah, well worked by Michael Darragh-Macaulay, you'd have to say. That's the one he would have liked to recycle every time when he comes into contact, brings it out to Kieran Kilkenny. Now that's what he can do. That's a fantastic score, off balance, a lot of pressure on the shot, and he still swings it over the bar.
Dillon point of Dublin starting to look more menacing. Here's Bernard Brogan, he's got away from Cafferkey. James McCarthy in. McCarthy has to go back. Brogan blocked down brilliantly, but another man arriving. It's Cullen. Brogan still wants it again, but Mayo able to keep Dublin out. The crossbar denied them earlier, but Mayo, their persistence and their tigerish defending and blocking got them out of trouble there. Killian O'Connor, Kevin McLaughlin. And McLaughlin going long, and again Conroy is the go-to man. Keane O'Sullivan was Alan Dillon. Remember, they came into this game without Andy Moran, their captain and their main sort of go-to forward. He'd been their key man all the way through the year. Suffered a terrible knee injury in the quarterfinal. Has been going well in training, we are told. Here's Michael Conroy, blocked down by Brian Cullen. That's what he's there to do in a defensive position. The shot comes in for Mayo. He's just not happy with.
Well, he's actually not happy with the distance the Dublin players away, and the linesmen and the referees have twice or 3 times tried to fix it, but haven't gone out and been as strong as they should be. They're way too close there. That's about 10 metres tops.
And O'Connor gave it a good belt, and it's accurate again. 3 from 3 from 45s. That was 2 hops, it appeared. Anyway, referee didn't see it.
He doesn't do 2 hops, this referee.
He did once. And here's Alan Dillon now at its end to Varley, and Varley has got it. Nolan trying to get close to it. Varley with a great catch. Can he finish it with a point? Oh, yes, he can.
I was actually reflecting on last year's All-Ireland, the last few minutes of last year's All-Ireland, and that's a big miss. It's a technical foul that he's missed badly, and it's a free that Dublin, or a point that Dublin will be very annoyed about.
Dublin coming back to within a point. Mayo have responded in some style. They lead by 8 points to 5. But where is the Mayo half-back line? It's Michael Darragh-Macaulay, can go right or left. He's gone to his right to Kieran Kilkenny. Goes at the left again, Kieran Kilkenny. And he's put it over.
Brilliant score. Great play. The way to get the kick out quickly turned around after conceding at the other end. As I said, a point they won't be happy about. And then Kilkenny comes back with the left foot. Fantastic score.
And this fella has arrived in championship football, hasn't he?
But he has so much talent, you know.
Richie Feeney. Alan Dillon. Dublin have their defence set. The pass didn't hit its intended target, and Keane O'Sullivan takes it out for Dublin, but Michael Conroy just wouldn't give up, and they've turned it over. Here's McLaughlin, and McLaughlin puts it over the bar. Simple mistake in the Dublin defence, pressure put on them. O'Sullivan had that situation under control until that moment.
I suppose that really is the difference. You'll have heard a lot of people talking about in this particular team. They're fighting for every scrap they can get. That's a turnover, and they got a point from it.
Well, it's a Mayo free. There seemed to be One foul before the other. Anyway, Mayo get on with it. And now it's Jason Doherty. Doherty, the goal-scoring specialist. That has come right out of the sweet spot. It's a glorious point from Jason Doherty. 10 points to 6, and Mayo back flying again.
Yeah, and this is a big swing now as you come into the half-time, towards the half-time whistle. Great scores. We were looking earlier on at the double hop.
Before the Varley point.
Yeah, there's one. And Doherty has another little one there, but he has his back to it. He missed it. In fairness, the referee had his back to it. But it's a big miss.
Ger Brennan, the All-Ireland champions, in trouble here in Croke. Now from Mayo, the Connacht champions. Kevin McLaughlin. That's Chris Barrett. Barrett ran into traffic and he's on the ground, and the referee.
Really important one. Now coming up to half-time, there's going to be a couple of minutes added on, obviously. And
three of them.
Like, this would put it into a 5-point game, and that would put Mayo in a very strong position. Dublin with a lot of work to do.
End of Arling. He's got one from play. And now he's got one from a free, and they lead by 5, 11-6. A long
from Dublin, you'd have to say this is their Leinster Championship form, and perhaps their quarter-final form against Laois as well. They just haven't got out of the blocks.
That's 3 unanswered points from Mayo. Dublin unable to secure their own kick-out. Mayo have decoded those again. Here come Mayo, there's space for Kevin McLaughlin, goes for the point, and he's got it. Second for McLaughlin, he could have taken it on and perhaps had a go at Stephen Cluxton, but the sensible play was to go for the point, and they lead by double scores, and the All-Ireland champions are in real trouble.
And what's really interesting from a Mayo point of view is the confidence of the striking. When players are getting into open country with the hand pass, they're absolutely splitting the post with the shots.
Paul Flynn, they're going to have the second half of their lives, but maybe they get a score before half-time. Michael Darragh, McCauley and Kevin Kane, they're with them, and he's lost the ball, and Kevin Kane has got it back, and his persistence paid off after the initial error. There's a foul in there, and it's a free out to Mayo. It's all going for Mayo. Michael Darragh, McCauley, this was threatening, but look at Kane.
Yeah, but he loses the solo, gets into a bit of trouble.
Privileges that you guys have in doing analysis is you can completely change your mind as the game and the day is going along. So how come Dublin are not winning this, as you all said to me at the start?
Well, one of the great privileges is just to be here on occasion like this, but Mayo have completely
Nicely sidestepped
turned
there, Colin,
on
by the
its
way.
head everything we said. Like we said that the Mayo forwards would have trouble scoring. They've scored as much as Dublin would have intended to give away for the full game in the first half. Kevin McLaughlin and Alan Dillon are running riot. Their defence are very much on top, apart from Diarmuid Connolly, who's been a bit hit and miss, but Bernard Brogan is out of the game. So Mayo have dominated around the middle of the field on breaks, and Dublin look a bit leaden-footed and they don't seem to be up for the challenge. And part of their problem is that when they do get the ball, they have very few fellas up front.
From a neutral's point of view, Joe Brolly, a former colleague of mine, the sports department, you said this is a humdinger.
It's great, you know, because I mean Mayo were the most sort of lovable screw-ups in Gaelic football, and you know, you expect that every now and again they're going to put on a performance like this. But look, I think they've got an arse in their trousers now. I mean, look at the way they've played there today. I mean, Dublin wiped them out at midfield, 14-6 on the midfield possession. They've had 10 interceptions, the Dublin defence, so they've created a platform all right for their forwards. But yet again, Dublin are playing the way they played against Laois, entirely dependent on defensive effort. But Mayo aren't Laois. And what you see with Mayo today is great composure, very big and powerful in their defence. From frees and from play, very composed. The exact opposite in the Dublin forward line. Sheer panic.
Yeah.
The number of times they've kicked the ball away, kicked the ball into the keeper's hands. Young Kilkenny has kicked a couple of balls up in the air. And the biggest problem that Dublin have had throughout the season, apart from the Louth game, is that Bernard Brogan, I mean, it looks as though he's been afflicted by a witch doctor. He can't do anything. I mean, 2 or 3 scores that he would have just put away normally by his high standards. A stupid shot, kicking the ball to the keeper's hands.
He's not getting a heap of the ball, it has to be said.
Well, he got enough ball. The Mayo forwards aren't getting a heap of ball, but they're showing great economy when they do get it.
I was talking to Kevin McStay before the match, and he was obviously hopeful that Mayo would do well, but he said it's hard to see where the scores are going to come from. They're coming from everywhere.
Well, the Mayo forward line have put on an exhibition, and all 6 have got on the score sheet.
Under pressure.
5 from play. But watch, one of the things to beat the blanket is, first of all, they're playing the ball quick and long outside of this one, where they ran through where Alan Dillon ran through the Dublin defence. But the rest of the scores are quite familiar, where the ball is quick, long, diagonal and into space, and the way to beat the blanket defence when there's bodies back is to kick the ball over the bar. Barry Morton, lovely point. You'll watch the similarity with all of them. I mean, you look at the Dublin forwards, 2 fellas have scored from play. The half-hour line have contributed nothing. Again,
Second half, so they're throwing the dice.
I don't agree with you that at all, that Dublin have a stranglehold in the middle of the field.
Well, they won
Philly
the field
McMahon
14
also
to
on
6.
for the second half,
Yeah,
by the way,
14
lads.
to 6.
Yeah, well, Kevin McMahon, Alan Brogan make, but you cannot have a stranglehold in the middle of the field and have Dennis Bastick and Eamon Fennell out of the game. That's a contradiction in itself. Yeah. But Dublin are going to need a goal, probably to win the game. But what they need is a couple of early scores to get the crowd roused up. And Mayo, of course, have kept the crowd very silent for the first.
Sorry to interrupt you, but Brian Cullen is the player that's making way for Brogan to come in, and Cian O'Sullivan has gone off in defence.
The big
McMahon.
problem that the Dubs face now is this: they're already panicking up front. Yeah. What they need to do is keep their composure. They need to not go for goals early on. And it's a problem against the Mayo team that's playing with great self-assurance. It's knocking over their 50s.
Right, Joe,
the scoring play.
The only thing is, you'll say about Joe, at least with this Dublin team, they showed composure all year. Against Wexford, when they were down to 14 men in the semi-final, they showed great composure. Against Laois, and they were being battered left and right. I know that they still showed composure.
Up from the full back line, furthest forward he's been all day. Alan Brogan can't get to it, and Keith Higgins wins the first battle between the two of them. Oh, and there's no marking at all on Michael Conroy, because Cian O'Sullivan was sauntering up the field. Rory O'Carroll there with him. Conroy has to score, and he's put that one.
Dublin with, because they are going to come back. There's no doubt about that. And have a miss like that, really poor miss.
Alan Brogan looking sprightly, but he did in the warm-up before the game as well, and he's found his brother, and now it's Diarmuid Connolly, and Connolly gets through away from Freedy. Connolly! Good save, really good save from David Clark. Wasn't going wide anyway, but Clark couldn't take the chance, and blocking it out with his right foot.
Well, what a turnaround that would have been now from the other end, where Conroy had the easy point. Great interchange of passing. Connolly gets in on the end of it. I think it was actually going wide, but as you said, you couldn't take a chance with that one. We get a better view of it here. Great save all the same.
Clugston turned the moment he struck the ball. Aidan O'Shea, Barry Moran, Kevin Kane. Great first half he had, apart from that double hop. A foul by restored that 6-point lead. First of the second half, 13-7.
He's good out of the hand as well. One of the best, actually, that I've seen over the last couple of years.
Oh, and there's a bit of a melee off the ball. There's been some sort of an incident, and Jason Doherty was involved. There's a Mayo player down on the ground, and you can see how incensed Stephen Clugston is with all of that. It's Enda Varley who's down, and it's still continuing on.
And the doctor has indicated that it is a serious injury. I see him calling to the sideline. I didn't see it, I have to say.
No.
I was writing at the time.
Just taking note of that free from O'Connor. Here is what happened. Well, you can see Varley going down, clutching his face, and then Rory O'Carroll trying to lift him back up. O'Carroll incensed. He obviously felt that there was some sort of play acting with Varley, and then Doherty got involved, and it just all on the right of the picture.
Yeah. They don't normally draw blood themselves.
Just have a look down the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, there's the bang. It was number 17.
There's Philly McMahon, and I suppose when you look at the two players, the two teams since the second half restarted, but we've had more stoppage than football. Richie Feeney for Mayo, Diarmuid Connolly getting involved. This could boil over again. There's a lot of tension out there, and some unwelcome reactions once more. That was a bit on the high side from Alan Brogan. Feeney went down, the free given, and the ball moved forward for descent while you were watching that. So, just anyway. There's an edge to this now. Cillian O'Connor allowed to easily catch the ball. The All-Ireland champions have got one hand still on Sam Maguire. Will it be wrestled out of their hands by Mayo? Michael Dara McCauley into the open space for Bernard Brogan. They reckon he could be one score away from turning his year around. He turns provider this time, and Barry Moran just helping the Dublin man out of the way, who was Dennis Bastig. And then there's another reaction off the ball, and we play on with Kevin McLaughlin. Cillian O'Connor. Donal Vaughan again popping up as the extra man, and now McLaughlin goes through, leaves the ball after him, and Dublin let off the hook. That's Kevin Nolan boring away. Oh, not a breath of wind around. It's a really lovely afternoon here. A yard or two inside the 45, Cillian O'Connor, and off the ground and out of the hand. The guy is flawless, and they stretch their lead. They want it. They've been driven all year, but Donal Vaughan kicking the ball away, a bad mistake. Here comes Dennis Bastig, almost in a few minutes ago, but denied by Barry Moran. Kieran Kilkenny now didn't catch that at all. David Clark will catch those and deal with those all day. Here's Keith Higgins. Oh, Higgins always plays with a swagger, but a bit too much so on that occasion. Alan Kane, and that's a great ball. Alan Freeman, close to the starting 15 he was. Freeman back to Conroy. Played in the 04 All-Ireland final. Will he get to play in another one? Here's Alan Dillon. The Dublin defensive system is marked AWOL, and that's well taken by Stephen Cluxton. Dublin have lost their shape all over the place. This much vaunted defensive system just shutting down, but Ger Brennan trying to bring some order to it and get them going forward again. And here's Cian O'Sullivan, second time in the match he's been able to launch an attack, taking it into the challenge with Kevin Kane. O'Sullivan still going, lets it off towards Bastig, but it's won back from Mayo by Chris Barrett, but he gives it back to Dublin. Unbelievable passage of play. Kieran Kilkenny has to go back. Diarmuid Connolly has been popping up in the half-back line, now in the half-forward line. Pressure put on them again. Brogan, they need this, and Brogan won't be able to give it to them. Diarmuid Connolly out of picture, went down injured. He's clutching his right thigh as we follow the play with Alan Dillon. Where's he going to pop up next? Aidan O'Shea. Cillian O'Connor. Dublin are going to make a change at midfield. Eoin O'Gara is going to come in. Bastig is going to go off. Here's Richie Feeney, has been going well and scoring well in training, and there he brings that form to the biggest stage of all in Croke Park. And what is on for Mayo? They beat Dublin in 2006 by a point. They lead by 15 points to 7. The All-Ireland champions are on the rack. And as you watch that, they're giving the ball straight back to Mayo. Cillian O'Connor for 2 in the space of 20 seconds, and he's done it. Cillian O'Connor. Surely it's got to be Mayo's day. 16 points to 7. The underdogs hammering the All-Ireland champions at the minute. Eoin O'Gara is on, Dennis Bastig going off, and surely Michael Dara McCauley will go to midfield now.
Well, a terrible kick out, and O'Connor so accurate. And in the earlier play, Alan Brogan took a shot from distance, hurt himself in doing it, and Diarmuid Connolly got a bang as well, so things to look out for.
Mayo winning absolutely all over the field. Cillian O'Connor, they could really go to town, and they could still. Here's Doherty, the goal scoring specialist. He's put it wide. What a chance that was. You could have started the scramble for All-Ireland tickets in Mayo right there if that had gone in. Yeah. As it is, Dublin are in serious trouble, and Mayo in a great position, but they're making mistakes, Dublin, all over the place. Pressure just so intense. That should have been a goal.
Yeah, the ball broke kindly for him. Puts it too far to the left.
Grip on the Sam Maguire is slipping by the minute. McCarthy ran straight into Vaughan. Here's Dillon again. Nobody at home for Dublin at the back. Dillon over the bar. 3 points for Alan Dillon, and he is in the form of his life. And look at the scoreline. 10 points. Dublin are being beaten by Mayo. Mayo 17, Dublin 7. Mayo's day it's got to be. Diarmuid Connolly, that's Chris Barrett behind him. 13 minutes since Dublin have last scored. They're in looking for goals, but they're not going to get it. That came off the foot of Ger Cafferty. Not going to get it right now anyway. trickier angle for a left footer as well. But they do need this badly, and that is brilliant from Cluxton. Some of his kickouts down at the other end have not been working well, but that has worked well. So there are 2 points in the second half, both from their goalkeeper, their fourth top scorer in this year's championship.
I think you can make it the third top one.
Be close to him, playing it centre forward. Owen O'Gara has an eye for goal, as you know, and O'Gara's dragged back. They get on with it quickly. They need a goal. Kieran Kilkenny happy enough to take the point. It's been signalled wide by David Clark, but not by the umpire. It has gone over.
Thought there was a goal chance there, and O'Gara took the quick one. Pretty sure there was too if he developed it to his left, but a lot of Mayo defenders back, in fairness to him. And there's Brogan going off. Yeah,
was not fit enough to be involved.
He took a long, you remember the shot he took, Dara, maybe about 5 minutes ago, maybe 40 metres out. He forced it. The groin obviously started playing up on him again.
They cannot afford to panic now. Mayo in the winning position. Dublin have got to claw their way back. Paul Flynn has given that absolutely everything, Flynn, and it's gone over the bar. So that's 3 in a row for the reigning All-Ireland champions. And it's back to 7. It's still a long way back, but there is time, quarter of an hour.
Brilliant kick, absolutely brilliant kick. And David Clark and
In the league game back in March, they're back to within 7, and now it's Michael Dara McCauley. They need a goal. Kevin McMenamin's in, and now Bernard Brogan. Is this the moment? Brogan caught by Kane, and it's a free in. It's a Bernard Brogan getting on with it, and for some dissent. So Dublin starting to put some significant pressure on Mayo. This will go over as well. And then you're back even closer, and regardless of temp, becoming more into it over the last few minutes. Owen O'Gara, Michael Dara McCauley still going forward. O'Gara, and O'Gara has put that one wide. The crowd on Hill 16 didn't seem to be there, but the All-Ireland champions are not gone yet.
Well, both men had their eye, clash of heads. Both men certainly had their eye on the ball. I think Cafferty has come off the worst of it.
Have put over 5 in a row. Brogan has had to wait a long time. He's got 2 points in this recovery, and now he's got a kick out from Clark. Is this going to turn out to be 2006 the other way around, with the lead Dublin had after, I think, wasn't it 46 minutes of the second half, and then to lose by a point? Here is Keith Higgins. They haven't been in the final since 2006. You know, all the years they've had to wait for another All-Ireland. Donegal wait in the final, but Dublin have tightened up in that half-back line and absolutely everywhere as they've kept Mayo out. Michael Dara McCauley, the ball moved forward and he lets it rip right down the middle of the field. And now it's Kevin McMenamin. Remember last September, he's got O'Gara inside. Popped into O'Gara. O'Gara crunched. He's got help. Here's Bernard Brogan. Brogan now, and it's blocked down. Brilliant defending from Mayo. Out for a 45 though. David Clark does not think so. It's been called as a 45 by the umpire. Cluxton will come forward. If he slots it over, there's only a goal between them. Was it a 45 though?
Didn't think so on first viewing. If he was closer to it. It's just off camera. We're not. Oh no, it's definitely wide ball off McMenamin.
And Cluxton, remember his point when they were 10 down from the place ball, brought them. Killian O'Connor, and they over-elaborate, and they've been caught a little bit short. Here's McMenamin racing forward. He's not out of play. Then he's confronted by Alan Freeman and fouled too. Another little mini flashpoint. Kieran Kilkenny wants to get on with it for Dublin. Under 4 minutes to go, and Brogan's in! What a save! What a save from David Clark! Here's Paul Flynn. Will they get something out of the attack? Flynn punches the air as he's put the ball over the bar. They could have drawn level. They're 2 behind. 2 behind. What a save from Clark. And then what a kick from Flynn.
Well, it was sensational save. The follow-up. The Mayo goalie is absolutely adamant it's wide. It looked fairly good from where I was, I'd have to say. There he is. He's so big, and he gets it with a strong right hand. That ball's in the net. If he beats the hand, 2 points.
55 and 85. Mayo and Dublin drew in All-Ireland semi-finals. Somebody close to me played in one of them. Not the 55 one, I might add. And Dublin have won the ball from the Mayo kick-out. Is there a goal in Dublin? Is there another point in them? What was 10 is now 2. Here's McMenamin. He ran into traffic, ran into trouble, and Colin Boyle has got the free for Mayo.
Higgins fantastic there in the tackle. Boyle helping him out. He's important. They need to get him in.
For Colin Boyle, who's going to go off. Lots of activity down on the bench. Mayo just trying to eat into that clock. The clock is Dublin's enemy. A score now would sort it. Here comes Gibbons looking for a goal. It's O'Connor and he's put it wide. What a miss. What a sensational miss from Cillian O'Connor. Reflect back to the Jason Doherty goal chance as well. They could have been dead and buried, Dublin, and Mayo could have been on their way to the final, but this is still in the mix. 2 minutes to go. All around this place as Dublin come forward again with Michael Dara McCauley, 2 points down. Kieran Kilkenny, the 18-year-old. Back to Kevin McMenamin, the goal scorer from last September. He's missed it, you know. He has missed it. Clark goes right down the middle. Fennell trying to break it down. It's with Michael Dara McCauley.
He's doing brilliant, Dara McCauley. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Out in the middle. I don't know whether that was a scream from the Dublin followers or the Mayo followers.
The Mayo bench, I think.
Could be either way, couldn't it? Cillian O'Connor playing almost like a right cornerback. Here's the left cornerback, or supposed to be. Keith Higgins was on that team in 2006 when they came back from the dead. Dublin were close to dead here, trailing by 10. Mayo haven't scored in such a long time. Kevin McLaughlin complete with the bandage in towards Conroy! And Conroy's put it wide.
But was he trying to fist it in?
Was he trying to exactly, yeah.
Or did the ball come loose? He tried to get a touch on it. We'll see here in the replay. Great turn. Gets the inside, in the back door. Oh, he did. So that's what I'm saying about decision making. Maybe he was trying to fist it over the bar, perhaps.
Sure either, but it's been such a long time since Mayo scored in this All-Ireland semi-final. This has got to go over from Cillian O'Connor. All the goal chances they've missed, and he's hit it right out of the sweet spot. It's an absolute corker from Cillian O'Connor, and it feels like more than a point for Mayo at this stage of this gripping All-Ireland semi-final.
You'd have to say his temperament is unquestionable. He did this in a Connacht final recently, or maybe last year, if memory serves me. And just his ability to kick those pressure points out of the hands, fantastic.
Pat Gilroy would take a draw off you right now.
McCauley again.
Hawley securing the ball. Here's Keane O'Sullivan. Mayo retreat, and O'Sullivan goes long, very long, and Connolly had it and then dropped it. It's come back to Owen O'Gara. O'Gara has McMenamin inside him. He's dragged out of it, and O'Gara didn't see Kevin McMenamin, who was unmarked. But there's a reaction again. Colin Boyle with Owen O'Gara. And the referee now calling Barry Moore and a cross, and it continues again. Diarmuid Connolly with Colin Boyle. But that clock still ticking away, and
well, it was a cynical tackle because again O'Gara was beginning to break away. They wouldn't let him connect inside, so they pulled it down.
And Brogan puts over the free. Is that the winning of the game right there? We're in the 75th minute. 5 minutes being added on by referee Joe McQuillan, and they could seal it with another point now. Here come Mayo, and it's Jamie O'Shea who puts it over 3 between them. At worst, they're going to get a draw out of this. At best, it's a place in the showpiece on the 23rd of September. A goal between them, 1916. It just crept inside the post. The All-Ireland champions back on the rack again. They've got a line ball, though, in their hands by the Connacht champions, Mayo. Or is there the goal that there was last September? McMenamin goes through. Mayo in no mood to let him through. They've got it free in. And minutes are gone.
Indeed.
So is this going to be the last kick of the game? Will the referee add even more on? Kevin McMenamin standing over the free. There's a bit of a flashpoint. That's too strong a description, actually, on the goal line. Alan Dillon now finally moved back. Kevin McMenamin
has to go for goal, hasn't he?
Yeah, can he try and get this past the Mayo wall? They've 12 behind the ball. McMenamin drills it through, looking for a touch, and it's gone for a 45, is it?
Controversy if he lets this one float, because there's so many bodies in there.
Three between them. The All-Ireland champions losing their grip on the trophy, and it's stopped on the line, and it's over. Keith Higgins has it, and Mayo have beaten the All-Ireland champions Dublin, and James Horan's team, they will play Donegal in the All-Ireland final. It'll be a first ever All-Ireland final between Mayo and Donegal. Dublin have stuttered all year. They did their best to hold on and get back into the game, but Mayo hung on. What a gripping final quarter to this All-Ireland semi-final. Pat Gilroy's champions are no more, and Mayo will get a crack at Donegal in 3 weeks' time.
Well, sensational result. Very few, I'd say, outside of this squad would have seen this coming. I include myself in that. A fantastic first half display. Stuttered a bit then, but when it mattered, the hunger, the desire to get into this final, a very novel pairing now. But you'd have to say that Dublin weren't even a part of last year, that same hunger and desire wasn't there for them. And in the end, a most deserved victory for Mayo. And in all facets of the game, I'd have to say they really dominated. Okay, they lost their way for a while in the second.
And Pat Spillane here on our panel this afternoon. Colin O'Rourke, the final score was 1916. It was a bit like 1916 down there for a while.
It was, and in the end you were wondering where Mayo going to show the white flag, as it was after a week's fight in 1916. But in fairness to them, they were the better team for 50 minutes of the game. Dublin decided when they were 9 points behind that it was time to mount or 10 behind to mount a comeback led by Michael Darren Macaulay. And if Bernard Brogan had to put the ball in the net at that time with 5 minutes to go, well, they would have been level, and it would have been, all the momentum would be with them. But in fairness, Mayo played with great passion for 50 minutes, very well organised, very disciplined, and you know, like Mayo have done in the past, when they saw the finishing line, they started to get worried, but they had enough momentum just about to get over the line, and fair play to them, they proved everybody wrong.
Well, as people can see, Joe, from our pictures there, obviously huge celebrations here for the Dublin fans, like we saw a week ago from the Donegal supporters, because, you know, with respect to Dublin today, and it's a big disappointing day for them, but it's I suppose it's a bit special for some of the Mayo fans.
It is great delight, you know, great ecstasy. But you know, I mean, no game would be complete with Mayo involved without a sort of a collapse at some stage. And as Colin says, you know, Mayo's collapse was virtually complete from the 50th minute when they went 10 points up, and then of course, I mean, it was destined that Bernard Brogan would get the chance to redeem himself clean through one-on-one against the keeper, which would have won the game at that stage. And I think that although Mayo did play very well and were rampant at times in the game, whenever it came down to the business end of the game, when Dublin actually got up to the intensity that's required at this level and brought on O'Gara and McMenamin and started to attack Mayo, all the old signs were there. And Jim McGuinness will have noted those very carefully. And I must say, I do think that the big winner today is Donegal.
Having said that, Pat, I mean, this was a big hurdle for Mayo to get over. And sometimes in a situation like that, when you're running rampant into the game, 10 points up at one stage, maybe you just can't believe it yourself.
Possibly, but look, Michael, that was a fantastic game, fantastic occasion, brilliant entertainment, brilliant intensity, skill levels, fitness levels. If you could bottle that, lads, we could export it all over the world. It's just magnificent to be here today, and it's absolutely brilliant.
We had to get out of the blocks early. We knew that if we didn't get out of the blocks early, that Dublin were just going to get a hold in the game. So thankfully we worked on a few things and they seemed to work out. We got a good few scores and we went ahead at half-time with a few points up. So we just got at half-time and reset and went from there.
Dublin came at us in the second half as we sort of suspected they would. And they started to get a lot of breaking ball, and it was all shoulders to the pump at some stage. But we kept going, we got through it. Made a few basic mistakes, really basic mistakes when the game was there. But we showed real character.
Things were just ran away from us, particularly to the last 5 minutes of the first half. We'd done all right up to them, but we just weren't firing. And in fairness, the effort to get back was phenomenal, and you'd have to admire the players for the way they threw their bodies on the line. And we had given up too big of a lead. And but again, you couldn't fault the players for the way they went at it.
Our backs in particular today defended superbly. There was a lot of goal chances. But we kept them all out, and that's what won us the game in the end. So look, we've a huge amount of mistakes today, but you know, we'll go away as we always do and work on them and prepare for the next game.
We felt we needed to get a goal, you know, and I mean, they just decided to concede frees rather than let us through there, you know, and that kind of was that we weren't going to get a goal because fellas were just being pulled down. But you know, that's probably a sensible thing to do. But again, look, you couldn't complain about what the players did in the second half. It was phenomenal.
It wasn't easy, obviously, because Dublin came really strong and we were actually lucky. So we know we've a lot of work to do. We can be happy with a vast majority of our game, but there was periods there that Dublin could have dominated us and could have scored goals. And we're just grateful to get over the line and looking forward to 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, and there you'll see now that Mayo are through to play Donegal in the All-Ireland Football Final of 2012. You'd have got some odds on that at the start of the year. That's on Sunday, September the 23rd. I think it's the first final between a Connacht and Ulster team since 1948, but is that correct, Martin?
Yeah,
it is.
48. Cavan and Mayo, I think, in 48 days.
Well, look, there's Mayo people have stopped, thousands of them stopped off to watch the Sunday game on the way home. Did they deserve it, Martin?
Yeah, it's interesting, I suppose, we look at the stats. Mayo is the county that has beaten more All-Ireland champions the following year than any other county in Ireland. The other thing, we look at James Horan. I mean, it was interesting to listen to the players during the week. They were saying that for the first time ever, they're not individuals, they're playing as a team. And he's definitely improved every one of them as individuals. Now, if we look at it from Dublin's point of view, I think Dublin were overtrained and had gone stale. Now, I don't blame Pat Gilroy for that. It's very, very hard to get it right the second year. It's always very hard to get it right. And, you know, different things, a lot of sideshows going on and everything else. But hunger always won matches. And the important part of the game was maybe that just before half-time, from 30 to 37th minute, Mayo got 6 points to 1. And I think that's the stage they won the match.
And were they the hungrier team in your view?
There's no doubt about it, they were the hungrier team. They had that hunger. You know, Michael Dara McCauley and Gerard Brennan, maybe the first half, kept trying to carry the fight to them, but they showed a lot of hunger all over the field.
Okay. Well, Mark O'Shea, you were part of a Kerry team that did actually achieve 2 in a row in, what, 06, 07?
06, 07, yeah.
How difficult is it?
It's very hard. I suppose the advantage we had was that Pat O'Shea came in, and not that there was any much of a difference between Pat or Jack. I suppose the big thing though was that you freshness, and you kind of had to prove yourself all over again, and that's the way it worked for us. You know, we had a good league campaign, and we kind of built the momentum from that, and I think we won the league in 06 and went on to win the All-Ireland. And you know, I suppose fellas were still young at the time. You know, the average age was 26, 27, so fellas were young, so we were lucky.
And what you make of Mayo today? I mean, it's an interesting point that they're a team now. Is there a similarity between them and Donegal from that point of view?
I think so, yeah. I think James Horan has worked very hard with them. I suppose I witnessed this first off against Mayo in the semi-final this year. That day, you know, their tackling was a lot more intense than previous years. They're a different team now. You know,
Let's take a look at it then, about their defence. You were impressed with their defensive mentality.
Oh yeah, I was very impressed with their defence all over. I think it starts from the wing forwards, Alan Dillon and Kevin McLaughlin, and you know, Aidan O'Shea was fantastic. I think he got 3 turnovers in the first half, and the first one actually led to the point that Barry Moran scored. And you know, he was fantastic. I thought he worked so hard all through. You know, there was times he was back helping out his defence, and I think he stopped up Eamon Fennell at one stage, and Dennis Bastick another time. Here we see him tackling Dennis Bastick, just turning him over, getting the ball, getting a free and getting on with it. And you know, as I say, Barry Moran kicked one of the scores, but Aidan and Barry worked very, very hard all over the field, as did.
They were 10 points down. Is it not reasonable to throw in?
No, but he wasn't. You can't put in an injured player, Des. He was injured. You could see the first ball he went from the field. He was injured. So it was actually, it was a wrong move to take him on. Now, I mean, you throw it in, but you had no point putting an injured player on. And it's a bad call by Pat Gilroy, because if you had Kevin McMenamin on that stage when the momentum was with them.
Well, I think McMenamin was a worse call. If they had played in midfield, he would have had more an influence on the game than where he started in the forward line.
I think it just shows how dependent Dublin are on Alan Brogan. You know, he's a fella he always comes in for 3 or 4 points, and you know, he always puts good ball into burners. So he was a massive loss.
We're talking
today.
about players of the year here. They're top bracket.
All right, like Mark O'Shea.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's get back to Mayo then and the positives. I mean, some of their forwards.
Look, it's great to talk about Mayo here. All down the years, typical Mayo, kicking the ball wide or kicking the game away from a scoreable position. It didn't happen today. Here's Richie Feeney coming up with the ball. What does he do? He gives it to the forward, straight into Alan Dillon, who had a super game, and from his right leg over the bar, a great score. All the half forwards today, the whole 6 forwards scored from play actually, which was fantastic. Now these are good balls in.
It's kind of inconclusive, Tony. The 3.
Well, we're just after seeing this here now, and it is inconclusive. Actually, you have Philly McMahon coming out with him. Something did happen there, but that picture isn't conclusive. Now, I don't like to see Rory O'Carroll picking him up and trying to. It looks like there was a coming together of them, and he did go down holding his nose.
What I think happened is In the first half, Cluxton, after a score, was getting the kick-outs quickly out to Michael Darragh-Macaulay. Mayo made a decision. Remember the start of the second half?
They were pushing up
took a
on
long
them.
time. They made a decision to stand in front of him and not allow him to do that. And I think Enda Varley was trying to get across there, let him do that. And Philly McMahon made the decision to stop him going across. But it is a yellow card to pull the player up on the ground. I think the referee has to make that call.
I think Varley went towards Philly McMahon more so than McMahon going for the tackle. I think McMahon
Philly
was
might have been
innocent.
trying to get across to stop.
I just hope that Varley doesn't miss
enough.
the final because of something
No,
like that.
I think it's not a broken thing. Lots of people asking as well. Mayo made 8 substitutions on the line, including blood subs. Did they break rules? You're going to clear it up for us, Martin.
Yeah,
they didn't break rules.
No, they didn't break any rules. I have to say that. But we take a look at it here. We have it up here. You know, we see it there. The big one is Richie Feeney coming on for the blood sub down at the bottom for Lee Keegan. He came on, and you know we see then that he was taken off again. Then later on for Jason Gibbons. But what you look at it like this here. The other one is Kevin McLaughlin came off a blood sub. Colin Boyle came on as a blood sub for Kevin McLaughlin. Now he came back on later on in the game again for Jason Doherty. Now the thing about it is that you can take, if you have 3 blood subs and you take on 3 players for them, you can leave them 3 players on the field as long as they're not taken off and left in the field, and you can use 5 subs along with that there. So I think a decision's been made by the GAA or whatever, by Eugene McGee's group committee and that there, to say that the 4th official has come into play here, go down and ask Mayo, is the player able to come back on or not? If he's not able to come back on, that means you either take off the player on, or that's a substitution made. The player on is a substitution. I think the other thing about it, just to clear it up on the field, the Mayo physio or doctor makes the decision, it's a blood sub. The referee has to okay it. And
reveal our man of the match from this afternoon. It was the choice of Kevin McStay, and he chose Mayo's Alan Dillon.
Alan, wonderful performance today. Did you always believe that sort of performance was in Mayo?
Most definitely. I suppose we've been playing well all year. I suppose we probably didn't get the credit that we deserved over the down victory, but yeah, we played well today. I suppose it was a difficult task coming up playing the Dubs, All-Ireland champions, and we're delighted just to get through. I suppose semi-finals are there to be won, and I suppose the big one now is in 3 weeks' time.
When the goal chances were being missed and Dublin were coming at you, did you have any doubt? Were you worried? Were you concerned?
I suppose we knew Dublin, the quality that they have, that they were always going to have patches in the game, and I suppose it was just a matter of digging deep and pulling through, and that's what we did. We got some vital scores at vital times, and you were just delighted to get over the line, and we prepare as best we can for 3 weeks.
I know it's early days, but Mayo Donegal, looking forward to it already?
Of course, I suppose Donegal, we're on a crest of a wave at the minute, and with their system and all, it looks formidable, but that's the challenge ahead of us, and it's something that we're looking forward to getting our hands in.
Well, you passed the challenge magnificently today, and I'm delighted to say you're the Ulster Bank Man of the Match, and indeed a Mayo man, former Mayo footballer and manager, Pat Holmes, going to present it to you.
Thanks a million, Pat. Well done, please. Best of luck. 3 weeks.